In exactly 13 hours and about 28 minutes, Nigerians will be at polling centers across the country to elect their president for the next 4 years.
And in the build-up to this, all-important processes of social media is a buzz, with users bearing their minds as to the expectation as Nigeria decides.
Of course, you can see the countdown right behind us. That's coming from INEC's official website. So as part of our dedicated 24-hour coverage of the 2019 elections, Channels Television is bringing all the reactions from trends to topics and much more all together in one place to help you get a sense of the mood in the country.
Yes, that's very true. So this is Pollstream. Welcome to the program. I'm Anne Nwawadu.
And I'm Kayode Okikyolu. Of course, you can be a part of the discussion using the hashtag The Verdict or hashtag Pollstream, and that's on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Remember, you can also send us a mail. So remember those hashtags, they are on your screen. They will be on your screen very soon. So please follow them to be part of this program.
Absolutely. So let's start off by taking a look at some of the videos you have sent in about your expectations ahead of tomorrow's elections. Take a look.
I'm from the northern part of Nigeria. I was unfortunate to vote the last time, but this time around I was enthusiastic to vote. Unfortunately enough, I couldn't get my PVC for the past 1 month. Elections this time around is going to change. It's totally different from the former. There is increased voting awareness. Now it's Hausa, Fulani, and a Muslim ticket from the two opposition parties. It's now up to us Nigerians to choose who to lead us right. Religious sentiments are not there, ethnic sentiments are not there. So elections now is more a determinant of the Christian community and the Southern community. The numbers that were before will not be again. If Mr. A is getting 1.5 million in Kasida, Mr. B will definitely get about 500,000 because it's now a Muslim ticket and there's increased voting rights and people are now aggrieved and apprehensive. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Yomi Akishwala. My polling unit is around Ojudu Abiodun, somewhere in Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. The experience I had during 2015 general elections basically has to do with the introduction of card reader. It meant that there was a reduction of cases of rigging and electoral malpractices. Albeit, we know that there were still some irregularities, but it was better, it was a far cry from what we had seen in 2011. And one of the things I'm looking forward to as an improvement is that we should be able to vote moving forward without having to shut down the whole nation. Like, you have to take a day off. No, I think that election should be, you can walk in and walk out, you voted. Second thing, one thing that INEC has done this time around is that as you are being accredited, you can vote. And moving forward, I think that registration should be less stressful. Once you turn 18, go into INEC office, register, get your card, and then we don't have issues of every 4 years, people having to go through stress to get their PVCs. Thank you for having me. I hope Nigeria have a better elections tomorrow. Bye.
Hi, my name is Tunde Aluko. My polling unit was in Palm Grove, Lagos. My voting experience was generally peaceful. However, the turnout wasn't as impressive as those who turned out for accreditation. People who came out for accreditation at the end of the day didn't turn out as much to come out to vote. I'm hoping that with the new INEC rule that allow you to vote immediately after accreditation, that it will be impressive this year, that people will turn out and vote. And then with the new first-time voters, I'm hoping that they would really turn out to vote. Thank you.
So you see those videos there, just keep yours coming. Just very simple. Use the hashtag Pollstream, hashtag The Verdict. The details are on your screen at the moment. Please check it out. and make sure you use those hashtags.
Absolutely. Now, for this year's election, Channels Television is introducing a revolutionary virtual interface technology, and it's been quite a sensation.
It's been buzzing. Social media has been buzzing about this, and on Twitter we have so many comments already. At channelstv.com, this is coming from The Real Shizo, who says that Channels TV is on their A game in this election. Hologram on fleek, and he put the hashtag #PollStream.
Also, we have this coming from a user on Twitter at Rookie101 saying Channels TV showing us their technology. Hashtag #PollStream.
Of course. We also have another one from Tolu Komo. It says, I love this new Channels TV technology. Hashtag #PollStream. And he's telling us, thumbs up.
Definitely. And finally, this is one coming from at Adetunji1212. It's interesting how he puts it. He says, Channels TV just burst my head. By the way, that means he's excited.
How we're busting a lot of brains.
That's not literally. But
all right.
Let's move on
Okay,
now.
so how about we give you another feel of this virtual interface technology we're talking about, shall we?
Definitely. So let's bring you Channels Television's Maupe Ogun Yusuf from Abuja, of course, that's the nation's capital, into our studio right here in Lagos.
Hello,
Here you are. Hi, Maupe.
Hello.
How are you?
And hello, Kayode. It's good to see you both.
Good to
even
see
though
you
it feels like I'm
too.
actually there.
Yeah, it's a
It feels
revolutionary.
wonderful to be a part of this technology.
Definitely.
It is.
And the good thing is we can see your gestures. It's almost real life. And this is the importance of virtual technology.
That's the importance of virtual technology.
Amazing.
And it's good to see you, Maupe. So you are going to be answering a lot of questions from there. Even though you are in Abuja, it looks like I can actually touch you right now. All right, so we're taking the first one. Kayode, you can...
Okay, let's take some questions that we got online earlier today. And, you know, people have been sending in questions, especially because it's a few hours to the elections and people really want to know how to go about voting, I mean, what to do and what not to do. So this question is coming from Twitter. And this person says at The Greatest Man, that's the Twitter handle, he says, please, my house is about 2 kilometers from my polling unit. With my voter's card, can I move?
I think it's important to first of all tell our viewers and everyone listening that they should please feel free to send in their questions, no matter how silly they think it sounds. If it concerns the elections tomorrow, please send in your questions. We will do our very best to ensure that we get the right answers from you for those who are concerned. And I'm sure that even our anchors in the studio, when they have the people, the authorities on ground, they can pose those questions to them. But from what we've gathered so far, if you live 2 kilometers away from your polling unit, yes, you can go to your polling unit, but you will not be able to drive there. From what we have gathered from INEC officials, no movement will be allowed on that. The security agencies have said as much, and they mean movement by vehicles in particular. By foot, you can move as long as you have your voter's card to show that your polling booth is the closest to you. Because there'll be questions as to why your polling booth is, 2 kilometers away. I mean, we do not know how close some of this, but we know that you're supposed to be registered to the closest one to you. 2 kilometers away, as long as you're walking there, I think you should just be fine.
Okay, let's take another one from Wandi Dua. He starts with the hashtag, the verdict. He says, what is the time frame for voters whose polling units might be far to get to their own units before the elections commence? Will the police allow such movement tomorrow?
Well, we already get that, there will be a curfew, instead of curfew, no movement restriction from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. That much we have gathered. If you're going to go and vote, I think it will be legitimate for you to walk to the polling unit closest to you or where you have registered to vote, as long as it's not too far away. You cannot, for instance, I'm trying to picture in Lagos, you registering in Jibo and living in, say, Yaba, and you're walking from Yaba to Jibo. That might be raising a bit of questions, even though they're really close. But there should be polling units close to your residents there in Yaba. Just giving an instance, I mean, if you've ever lived in Lagos and you understand those kinds of distances. Movement restriction is from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. for those moving around. If you're moving to go and vote, there is no restriction to you as long as you're going by foot. So I think that's the most important thing to say. You're only allowed to go in any vehicle if you're an accredited INEC observer, or you have some election duty to perform. For instance, journalists who have been accredited will be allowed to move around as long as they're wearing their tags and they're able to show that they're accredited journalists at any point in time. But if you're just going to vote, you're allowed to go on foot to your polling unit, but not in a vehicle. Okay.
I think you just answered the next tweet that someone sent in asking if he could drive. But let's move on to another tweet. This one coming from Wakili146. That's on Twitter, of course. And it says, is it allowed for the party agent to check the numbers of voter paper and numbers of voter that will help not to rig? Your thoughts?
This is a very tricky one now. From what I understand, from the calls I placed to INEC officials, they say that from the point when the ballot materials and all of that are finally distributed tomorrow morning, or whatever time they're distributed, that party agents will be there to verify and see how the process is being conducted, and that there might be no need for any agent to start counting manually what has been delivered to the agents, beg your pardon, to the INEC officials or the ad hoc staff who are going to be going to the polling units. I believe that when usually INEC officials get to the polling units, they usually show what it is that they have in sealed form from the CBN when these materials are distributed. But we have been told that the party agents are usually there to observe the distribution process. The distribution process at the CBN headquarters, and when that is not the headquarters in Abuja, but the various CBN offices that they have across the state, when that is done, that should sufficiently suffice, and that usually when the polling agents get there, they will show what materials that they have and in what state that they have before they eventually commence the voting process.
All right, so let me take this one from Nnamdi Anthony. He says, he's asking, in his words, please, are party agents allowed to vote? Interesting. Very interesting.
Yes, we've been told that they're allowed to vote as long as they're monitoring in their own, in the station where they have been accredited or where they were registered and where they were accredited. But they have to be registered at that particular polling unit for them to be able to vote. Excuse me there. That's the only way party agents can vote. If they registered at the polling unit where they are monitoring, yes, they can vote. If they did not register there, I'm afraid they might not be able to vote, or perhaps they will cast their ballot before they eventually move to their polling units of assignment. We don't know how that's going to play out, but we've been told that they will only be able to vote in that unit that they monitor if only they register there.
Okay, on a final note, can you just, on a lighter note now, can you give us a sense of the atmosphere in the Federal Capital Territory just a few hours before the election?
Well, it looks very breezy here. It looks like there's a public holiday. That's how it feels. It's
the
very
same in Lagos.
Right here in Lagos,
Exactly.
there's actually lots of traffic.
The nation is about to go into some celebration.
Are you serious?
I don't know how it is in Lagos, but that's how it feels. And I think that's the mood that we should get. It's very sad to see what we're seeing on the screen, that some people have been killed in Kaduna in some remote villages. It's very sad to see that. But usually the democratic process is something that people should celebrate. It's a time that we all exercise that franchise. And that's how it feels here in the Federal Capital Territory. Sadly, maybe, I don't know, maybe people are afraid or, still have a bit of fear. But what we found is that schools have told the people to go home early. People are also telling their members of staff to close early. They want them to go and prepare for the polls. Maybe it's in celebration. Maybe it's in some anxiety. That's not clear. But it does feel like there is a public holiday around, and that's the mood I feel around here. I don't know how you guys feel in Lagos. How do you feel?
We are, well, as people coming this way, so there's traffic, but for now I think there's
over
calm.
the past few minutes, like hours, it's been trafficless in Lagos, interestingly, and people are asking, is there a public holiday just like in Abuja? But you know what? It's been great having you, Maupe Yusuf, right here.
Thank you very much, Maupe. And how about security? I think, how is it in Abuja at the moment, security-wise?
Security agents have their presence in some areas, and areas perhaps that you find a bit of population. What you must also notice is that in Abuja, the central areas usually is where you have a lot of business going on, and usually they tend to look a little deserted when there is no business activity, and then activity moves to the suburbs where you have a lot of people leaving. So you find a great deal of security presence there in some instances to try and assure the people that, all will be well tomorrow and that they are really on ground to ensure that all is well tomorrow when the polls open tomorrow.
Okay.
And Coyote.
Thank you very much, Maupe Yusuf, all the way from the nation's capital, Abuja. Thanks for your time. We sure will be back in just a moment on Poll Stream, so please stay right where you are. All right, welcome back to Poll Stream, a segment of our dedicated election coverage program titled or christened The Verdict.
Definitely. Now, this is where we bring you all the reactions on social media. And we're talking about trends, topics, and even much more. And we try to condense everything all together in one place. You can, of course, be a part of the discussion using the hashtag The Verdict or hashtag Poll Stream on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The details, of course, right there on your screen.
Yes, they are. So please check those details and keep those tweets coming, keep pictures coming, keep videos coming. Social media has been a great tool for networking and information sharing, but guess what? It comes with its own challenges, one of which is fake news.
Well, that's right, Anne. And the Nigeria Police Force says it has this covered. Interesting. Earlier on, we spoke to the Force PRO, that's Mr. Frank Mba, and this is what he has to say about fake news.
If you've been following our social media handles, you actually see that we've upped our games on the social media lane or in the social media world. The police Twitter handle is active, and part of the strategies we're also adopting beyond what NBC and NCC and other regulatory bodies are doing to contain the negative incidences of fake news is also to make sure that at our own level we continue to remain actively engaged, just like being in this studio, just like making sure that we continue to push out timely information on our social media handles and being able to respond timely to inquiries from the media houses, both the new media as well as the traditional media, because we believe that as long as we remain ahead of them, we remain ahead of the mischief makers, we will be able to actually push the messages ahead of them, take control of the space, and direct the narrative. By so doing, we're able to cut them down and reduce their chances of actually generating and spreading fake news to the barest minimum.
Well, that's Mr. Frank Mba there, the Force PRO, telling us about how the police is planning to use social media. Now, let's check out some of the tweets you've been sending. Remember, this is Poll Stream, so it's all about what is on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. That is what the program is about. This one is coming from Olushola Solomon. He's right here in Lagos, actually from Ojo. It says, I voted without stress, and it was very peaceful in 2016. I guess he was trying to say 2015 election at my former polling unit. And he's hoping for the same to come tomorrow at his new polling unit, and using the hashtag, the verdict, hashtag 2019 elections.
Well, there's more, this time from @Solomon_beloved. And this is what he says. He says, I'm ready to vote and vote for competence, intelligence, character, and integrity. This is for the love of country and not for party. He says, better Nigeria, better me. Of course, he puts the hashtag, the verdict, and 2019 election. It's interesting he tries to, bring some of the traits he's looking for.
He's looking out for, and that's where we talk about expectations. What people are expecting from our leaders, what people are expecting from tomorrow's exercise.
Definitely.
Let's take this one from Afuwai Chi. Using the hashtag first, the verdict, and then hashtag 2019 election, saying that how secure will the results from the polling units to the collation centers be?
Apparently, that's a security question. And earlier on, we had the Force PRO giving us details about how, the security apparatus will be. Of course, some of them will be classified.
It will, of course.
Definitely,
it will be very classified information.
We've gotten word that they have it covered. Moving on to this next tweet from Ogwa Abraham. It says, I am happy coming out to vote for the first time. Interesting, we have a first-time voter there. And it says to choose my preferred candidate.
Wow.
Interesting.
Okay, so this is from Ibrahim As. It says, hashtag Channels TV, hashtag Pollstream. I believe tomorrow's election will be free and fair. I expect more improvement from INEC, politicians, and security agencies.
And I think that's something people have talked about, improvements. I mean, the last exercise, general election we had was 4 years ago.
4 years ago.
And you'll expect that there will have been improvements.
In terms of technology, in terms of output, in terms of security, there should be improvement. So a lot of people are expecting that to happen tomorrow.
Moving on to this tweet from at Jekakem. He hashtags, of course, the verdict 2019 election. And it says, wouldn't it be ideal that the police or security agencies make use of drones to beef security coverage?
Okay,
I'm sure
that is
I really do
I'm
hope
sure there's something like that. Maybe. We'll find out tomorrow. Obuhuma says that, please tell my mom to allow me go vote tomorrow. Hashtag the verdict. Please, mommy, allow him to vote. Okay.
How do we go about this, though? Mommy, please allow her exercise her franchise. The security forces have, of course, told us there's no cause for alarm. I understand security might be an issue for people.
And that's what a lot of people are afraid of. But we've gotten so many assurances that security will be good. Covered. So if you're afraid right now, please don't be. Go out tomorrow, exercise your rights. It is your right. So please go out and vote tomorrow. And remember, for mommy, it's also hers or her future. So please allow everyone to go out to vote. So you can also be part of the discussion using the hashtag the verdict, hashtag Pollstream on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. The details are on your screen, so we expect more of this. We have to read them on Pollstream because that is what the program is about.
Well, at this point, we'll have to wrap it up on Pollstream for this hour. Don't forget, Channels Television is dedicated to bring you all the angles as it relates to the 2019 election. We have a 24-hour program dedicated just for the election, the verdict.
So I like how Ogworam says that he's the first voter. This is the first time he will be voting. So if you have pictures like that, if it's your first time also and you're going out tomorrow, please send in your comments, sending your videos as short as they can be, send in whatever it is. Just make sure you hashtag Pollstream on Channels
the verdict. Well, that's all on this edition.
Thank you very much for watching. I'm Anne Mwawadu.
And I'm Kayode.